Hi everyone. Don't be alarmed. Army trains MPs to drive tanks on U.S. streets. Now, this article is posted up on Infowars by Paul Joseph Watson. The St. Louis City residents have been warned to not be alarmed at the sight of U.S. Army tanks rolling down residential neighborhoods after sightings of the vehicles provoked fears of martial law. The exercise is part of a U.S. Army program run by military police from Fort Meade, Maryland, focused around training MPs from St. Louis how to drive heavily armored tanks on highways and on city streets. Sightings of the tanks prompted hundreds of residents to flood news channel KSDK's Facebook page, with some expressing fears that martial law had arrived, with others promising to stop and salute the tanks as they rolled by, reporting that he was told by the Army not to disclose the location of where the exercise was operating out of for security reasons. KSDK reporter Casey Nolan downplayed the exercise as not such a big deal. U.S. Army Sergeant Cornelius Ivory discouraged citizens from taking video and photographs of the tanks and urged them not to get close. So, pedestrians cannot take video footage or photographs of the tanks. That's a bit strange, folks. They need to know to stay away from it, Ivory told KSDK. The exercise will run from June 21st to 28th in St. Louis, with the presence of the tanks being most noticeable in the area of the 6th District. As we have exhaustively documented, the increasing shift towards domestic militarization of law enforcement is part of an acclimation process to get Americans comfortable with the idea of troops and tanks on the streets as a routine occurrence. Earlier today, we reported on how scores of paramilitary troops and soldiers appearing to be from the National Guard were deployed on the streets of Hartford, Connecticut, to break up a recent annual Puerto Rican American cultural event. This is just the latest of scores of examples of how the military and National Guard is increasingly being deployed domestically to target the American people. National Guard and U.S. Army troops are routinely involved in urban warfare training drills. Usually such drills take place within the confines of military bases. However, more recently, heavily armed troops are increasingly seen patrolling residential neighborhoods and even the downtown areas of major U.S. cities. Such invasions are often reported on as nothing to worry about and even as cool by the mainstream media. Back in 2008, the Washington Post reported how 20,000 U.S. troops returning from Iraq would be stationed inside America under NORTHCOM for purposes of domestic security from September 2011 onwards. NORTHCOM officials were forced to subsequently issue a denial after the Army Times initially reported that the troops would be used to deal with civil unrest and crowd control. An article published in the May-June issue of Foreign Affairs, the mouthpiece for the influential Council on Foreign Relations, Chief of Staff of the U.S. Army General Raymond T. Odierno, advocates the Army be transitioned into a more flexible force by deploying in situations normally reserved for domestic law enforcement officials. He argues that by doing so, troops will be better equipped to deal with conflict elsewhere. Domestic deployment of troops for purposes of law enforcement is a clear violation of Section 1385 of the Posse Comitatus Act, which states, whoever except in cases and under circumstances expressly authorized by the Constitution or Act of Congress willfully uses any part of the Army or the Air Force as a posse comitatus or otherwise to execute the laws shall be fined under this title or imprisoned not more than 2 years or both. I know a lot of you out there say, well, we need to have military on the streets, we need to have soldiers and tanks and all this other stuff. Why do we need to have tanks and soldiers patrolling our streets, folks? That's the question. All right, why do we need them going door to door, asking how many weapons we have? you know, or even worse, taking our weapons, our guns, right? They confiscate them. I know that some of the troops out there, some of the soldiers, have been given orders to take away our guns. Now, I'm someone who does not believe in violence. I'm someone who's a peaceful man. I used to be in the military myself. I used to be in the Army Reserves for a couple years. And, you know, I understand what troops are going through. They're giving these orders, and they have to abide by these orders. If they're not, they're afraid of losing their job, or they're being arrested, or, you know, who knows? You know, so these soldiers here probably don't want to do this at all. At least the great majority of them, because I know most troops out there, they care about their families, and I'm sure a lot of them out there care about Ron Paul, and they want to get him elected as president. But the reality is, they're given these orders by the government, and the government's already out of control. So the question is, are they going to attack American citizens? Now, this is all just training, of course, but they're being very secretive about it, and that's disturbing, folks. If they were open and honest about it, and they told the public, you know, they showed the tanks and all this other stuff, you know, that'll be fine. But this is starting to get very, very strange. As you all know, we're already in a very critical time where the economy is just falling apart, and all this is happening at the same time. Now, some of you say, well, I don't like Alex Jones. He's a fearmonger. You're promoting fear. Well, I promote the truth. You know, I like to question things. I like to find out what the truth really is, folks. I want to know who's behind this. I'm ex-military myself. I understand, right? There's been training going on like this all over the United States for many, many years, and it's been escalating, all right? You wonder why the Pentagon's using tons of money to buy all this equipment, you know, buying drones and more tanks, and these brand new tanks, of course, new weapons, ammo. It's for some reason against American citizens. It's not to go to war to another country. It's for something here in the United States. So don't jump on me to say that I'm a fearmonger, or I'm someone who supports Alex Jones and someone who believes what he's doing. You know, I just don't get what's going through people's minds. You know, Alex Jones has been waking up millions of people left and right everywhere, and yet people still attack him. And people still attack InfoWars and say, well, I don't want to follow that fear-mongering stuff. Well, either you're a realist and you get down to reality, alright? I'm sorry, but our world is not roses and bunnies. If you want to live in that kind of reality, I mean, if you want to live in that fantasy world, go ahead. You can live in your own little fantasy world, alright? Go to your job, which most people have to go to their job. Nothing wrong with that. But go watch your American Idol, Dancing with the Stars, your football, your baseball. Enjoy your time when things are escalating all over the place and people are being threatened and their homes are being taken away. And of course you're saying, well, that's not affecting me, so you know, I don't care. I don't care what happens to other people. I think that's the problem we have in America and across the world. It's selfishness, ignorance. Actually, it's ignorance of the truth. And we're all ignorant of the truth, folks. And this is why the world is falling apart. When you're ignorant of the truth and you don't face it, then things get really, really bad for you and everybody else. It's time to wake up. It's time to stop drinking the Kool-Aid and realizing the truth, and start sharing information like this, these articles. And that's why I'm doing this on YouTube. because I'm trying to inform all of you and help all of you out because I care. Unlike other people out there don't care. Okay, but I care. You know, I don't want this to happen. I don't want any of this to happen. I want people to be free, okay? I want people to be living in their homes and safely, that they can get along with everybody else, that they have, you know, they don't have to worry about losing their home. You know, I want people to be happy. I don't want people to be in fear or frustrated. I'm not a fear monger. I just want to help people. But I want to share this article with all of you because I think it's important. We need to get this out there to the public. Share this with your friends and family. Right? Share the video clip. And I'm going to be uploading a video from Alex Jones here very shortly. Right? So take care and have a great week, everyone. Bye-bye.